So, President Trump gives $20 billion to Argentina. Globalists, I think that's exactly what this is. Globalism in a red hat. And of course, the base is upset and why it just exposed a major inconsistency within America First. You guys, I'm a bit, heated. I got some opinions on this, so I'm going to try to keep the episode short if I can. We shall see. Welcome to another episode of Archie's Briefings, you guys. I'm your host, Arshel Branch. Take the time to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so that way you never miss an episode. You guys can like the video, share the video. Definitely get into the comments because I think this one's going to be a doozy. Okay, you guys, let's talk about what's going on here. So, why do I think that this is just an action of globalism? The idea of giving $20 billion to Argentina, of course, if this candidate, this so-called anarchist capitalist, wins the election. Let's see how this goes. But ultimately, feels like globalist tactics here. And America First, the base, of course, not happy about it. Of course, we're not happy about it because, well, this is not putting America first. This is you giving money to another country that has nothing to do with us, has nothing to do about paying down the debt. We have $37 trillion of debt, and somehow you think this is a good idea, Mr. President? What is going on? Now, before any of you guys get into the comments and say, well, Arshel, you voted for him. Didn't you know? Isn't this what you voted for? No, I didn't vote for this. I did vote for him. I don't regret voting for him. I knew I would get exactly what I wanted domestically, but why foreign policy-wise, I just suspected that we were going to get, less a crusader, more status quo, where we can afford our bread and circus. People can go on vacations. Affordability is not an issue. Young people can buy houses and Gen Zers can actually afford decent apartments. And we go on vacations and everything is fine. And we can grow our savings and consumer debt is low. And we don't use credit cards for necessities. And we stick our head back in the sand, completely unaware of what our government is doing. And frankly, I think that's what President Trump wants us to do. And this is why I keep saying America First policies can't just be that domestically. It has to be that foreign policy as well, right? The tariffs, I absolutely love it. That's going to be new income that can go towards paying down the debt. Love the spending cuts that came from Doge, obviously. Hello, that's more money, freed up capital to go towards the debt. The 2017 tax cuts that he re-implemented through the One Big Beautiful Bill. I had some issues with this. We negotiated, we debated, you removed some things, and we got to some pretty sound policies, a bit of a compromise, but one I can live with to some degree. Okay, I like it. You deploying the National Guard so we can reduce crime in America because the police are unable to do their jobs because of local leadership and state leadership. Again, absolutely love it. We see all the videos of Black Americans saying that they can walk to the store and buy ice. Kids are back outside without having to worry about gunshots and all the rest of it. This is a beautiful thing. Children being saved because you did this. Mass deportations of illegals, kicking out illegals out of these, welfare programs. I love what's happening domestically. Why is it that we can't get the very same ideas on the foreign scale? We got to make this make sense. Now, before I go into everything about what's wrong with the base on this, let's talk about what's going on with this actual idea of giving Argentina $20 billion. Okay. First off, this is a bailout. And the central bank, which you guys know, if you're someone who's been watching my channel for a while now, if you're new to the channel, new subscriber to the channel, just know I have a serious disliking and a serious suspicion towards centralized banks, okay? And it's not like it's just me. You cannot be someone who is a fan of G. Edward Griffin and Carol Roth, read their books, War on Small Business and Creature from Jekyll Island, and not come to the same conclusions that they had. I do not trust the centralized banks, okay? And we have a history in our country of fighting centralized banks. Ben Franklin didn't like it. James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, Abraham Lincoln, even all the way up to the 1900s, where you had Republicans, I might add, who disliked centralized banks. Okay. We have a huge history, over 100-year history of fighting centralized banks. And this is just a way where they can just take control over yet another sovereign nation. That's what this is. And that's, again, only if this capitalist, this anarchist capitalist of Argentina wins. This Make Argentina Great Again candidate wins. Then we will go ahead and enslave you financially. Oh, no, it's good. If you lose, your country's, done for. If he wins, your country's done for. Pick your master. Pick your master. It's like, that's the circumstance here. And of course, Americans are not okay with this because this is just one of the many ways in which our government ends up getting us dragged into one of these meaningless wars, meaningless conflicts, putting us further into debt, costing us more money, costing us lives in some cases because they are so eager to have power. What do we think the Russia-Ukraine debacle was about? Please. Between Jeffrey Sachs and G. Edward Griffin and everything that we've learned about what happened there, NATO, Russia, the whole enchilada, people, this was all about central power. And of course, the America First movement that now consists of Republicans, Democrats, and independents because it means no meaningless wars. And that's what central banks tend to get us in. Okay. There's a documentary, you guys, called Every War is a Banker's War. I incline everybody go ahead and look at that. Now, before I go any further, because I kind of just let it rip right then, I'm going to show you guys a couple of clips as to why somehow having this position that we shouldn't be caught up in meaningless wars, that we shouldn't be getting involved in other countries' business, that somehow that position was not maintained when it came to Israel. So let's go ahead and let's start with a clip of Laura Loomer on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, Valuetainment, and just go from there, and I'll give you guys my thoughts after that. Okay, let's go ahead and let's run it. All right, guys, so this is the clip here with Laura Loomer on PBD. I'm just going to let it play.
No, this company this is going back and forth with, where it's creating the story here is creating a division in the Republican Party, which may lead to a complete different candidate coming out in 2028. Could be a Thomas Massie, could be somebody that's getting behind them, could be a Dave Smith, could be a Tucker Carlson. It's opening up the gap. But what do you think is going to happen with this division within the Republican Party?
I think that, it's definitely a very profitable industry. You've talked about this extensively on your show. And I know when you called it out, all these woke right people started pouncing on you saying, oh, look at him. He's a Zionist. Oh, he's a sellout to the Jews. Because you're right. You called it out. You said that it's a very profitable industry right now to capitalize off of Jew hatred. And
I'm going to leave it there. To capitalize off of Jew hatred. You guys, that's all I want you guys to see of that particular clip, because let's just call it spade. The fact that she is calling this, capitalizing off of Jew hatred is nonsense. I'm not capitalizing off of Jew hatred. Sorry, but I don't believe that American politicians need to worry about whether or not they're going to get elected if they can make friends with the Jewish community over what's happening in the Middle East. Sorry, no. But if you're saying that the Jewish Americans are not going to vote for an American citizen because I don't care about, what's going on in the Middle East, that's a problem. The fact that Kamala Harris chose Tim Walz over Josh Shapiro because of what was happening, okay? She chose Tim Walz over Josh Shapiro for her vice presidential pick because she didn't want anyone to favor Israel over this conflict. But he's American. So what difference does it make? You needed a moderate. You chose a far leftist instead of a moderate. You might have gotten more votes had you gone with a moderate. But you were so eager to appease Palestinians or pro-Palestinian people over a conflict happening in the Middle East. Like, this is ridiculous. Candidates actively choosing people or running off of the idea to appeal the Jews of America or the Muslims of America over what's happening in the Middle East. That is nonsense. This isn't me being pro-Israel or anti-Israel, being pro-Palestinian or anti-Palestinian. That region has been at war with itself since before the country existed, okay? Since before America existed, okay? I'm not convinced that this peace deal that we have, though credit to President Trump for what's happened with this deal, that it's going to last. It never does. It never does. I'm never going to be convinced. And the fact that a person, an American citizen, cannot run without convincing either the Muslim Americans or the Jewish Americans that they are good for the job without having anything to say about what's going on in the Middle East is ridiculous to me. All right, you guys. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of parts from this clip. This clip is from the Wall Street Journal, and I'm going to show you just parts of it just so we can, get the highlights of it. Okay, let's go ahead and let it run.
He's MAGA all the way. It's make Argentina great again.
President Trump has announced a $20 billion deal to rescue Argentina, angering some America First supporters and U.S. farmers.
Of course.
The problem here is that is entering into a situation that it has no exit strategy for.
So what has Trump actually agreed to, and how does it work?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
To understand the deal, you need to know who this is. Argentinian President Javier Milei, a chainsaw-wielding anarcho-capitalist elected in 2023. MAGA loves him as much as he loves MAGA.
Javier Milei was an economist. He was a TV pundit who had really very little public experience.
And now
but he
movement.
came to office and he ran for office promising radical change to a country that had spent decades with economic turmoil.
Okay, guys. So really, that's all that needed to be shown of that part so far. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. But again, okay, so they've had economic turmoil before. This guy comes in and President Trump is willing to give him $20 billion if he wins his election, right? If they don't win, they're not going to get this money. And I'm like, just choose your master. That's pretty much what this is. Just choose your master. Okay.
Besant's pals have bought up Argentina's debts. And if Argentina goes down, those Wall Street billionaires could lose a lot of money.
This trope that we're helping out wealthy Americans with interest down there, they couldn't be more false. What we're doing is maintaining a U.S. strategic interest in the Western Hemisphere.
In October.
Okay, so he says we're trying to maintain U.S. strategic interest. Okay, how does this actually help American citizens, though? Okay, now, first off, we know the left obviously are not going to like this because if this so-called MAGA candidate wins and we give them money, they're not going to be thrilled. Oh, you only gave him money because he was a right-wing candidate. And hey, even Trump's own words, he says, if he doesn't win, then we're not giving them money. How does this actually benefit the citizen? Now, here's the thing. I'm no economist. Everything I know about the history of our economy, most of this was, some high school, the rest independent study because I got a bit curious. And the things that I've learned about the centralized bankers, you guys, it is totally imperialistic. And I do not believe that America has to survive by being an imperialist society. And I believe that's what's happening with our government. Okay. That's what I believe is happening here. Like I said earlier, I think Trump wants off the Trump train. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to fast forward to the next clip, you guys, so we can just sum this up real quick. Okay.
October, Besant announced that the U.S. Treasury had already directly bought pesos, a first, and would provide Argentina's central bank with a $20 billion currency swap, giving it dollars to keep the peso propped up.
Argentina has had over several decades numerous bailouts, but President Trump is picking winners and losers based on ideological preferences and who he likes.
If he loses, we are not going to be generous with Argentina. Okay?
Besant.
That's pretty much it, you guys, right? If he loses, we're not helping Argentina, like I said earlier, okay? If he wins, they have a new master that we can call the central bank, the Federal Reserve Bank, okay? If he doesn't win, then they lose regardless, right? Because your country will just stay in debt regardless. You'll stay in debt. You won't have a way of getting your economy off the ground if he loses. And if he wins, you just have the new master that we call the Federal Reserve Bank. Centralized banking is just a form of financial enslavement. And if you are someone who has read G. Edward Griffin's The Creature from Jekyll Island, there is no way you do not come to those same conclusions. So, of course, America First is not happy about this. Of course, the farmers are not happy about this. My question is, where the heck was this consistency when we were giving money away to Israel? Let's go ahead and let's come out of this and I'll sum everything up for you guys, okay? Of course, America First is not happy about this because it clearly shows we are prioritizing putting other countries above our own. We have $37 trillion of debt. In 2017, during President Trump's first term, it was only $20 trillion, which is still a lot. We came into the 21st century with trillions of dollars in debt. And seems to me that no matter who we ever get into office, do they ever concern themselves with getting out of it. And it is a problem for years, okay? Since World War II, we have allowed the rest of the world to steal, to feed off the fat and the wealth of our citizens, okay? And it's a problem. We've got politicians who want to prioritize what's going on with the rest of the world in order to win elections. Again, why Kamala chose Tim Walz and not Josh Shapiro. There's a reason for that because, if I pick Josh Shapiro, I'm going to piss off the pro-Palestinian Americans, whether they are the white radical leftist liberals or if they are really our Arab Muslim individuals who either immigrated here, they're refugees here, born here, doesn't even matter to me. That is a problem. This country is Christian. We are a Judeo-Christian nation, bogus. This idea that diversity is our greatest strength, bogus. Okay? This idea that we have to be imperialistic in order to survive, bogus. The idea that America cannot survive unless it is the global order, bogus. All of this is bogus. You don't need to be the global order to survive. We've already proven that. That's in our history. We do well even when we don't have the global control. That's number one. Okay? The history of the centralized banks and our American people, it ain't good. It's never been good. And for the last 100 years, we have been financially enslaved to them. And all they want to do is go ahead and keep on forcing other countries into debt, buying up their debt, taking control without ever having to fire a bullet. It's genius, but it's evil genius. And of course, America First isn't happy. Where is the consistency, however? According to Laura Loomer, we're just trying to profit off of hating Jews. That we're the woke right if we don't want to help Israel. No, I didn't want to help Ukraine. I don't want to help Argentina. And I certainly don't want to help Israel. Every single time I'm talking to Israel, every single time, you guys, let's just call spade. From JFK to now Charlie Kirk, their name keeps popping up, and not in a good way, like at all. I'm starting to think maybe we shouldn't be friends. I'm starting to think we shouldn't be friends because in my real life, you guys, if I find myself in conflict, several conflicts, and every time there's a conflict, this friend's name keeps popping up as something to do with it, maybe we shouldn't be friends. I need a new friend. I don't know if I can trust you. There's a reason for that. Now, I can't prove that you instigated. I can't prove that you had anything to do with it. But every time I have a conflict, your name keeps popping up. And then you want to say that I hate you if I'm in debt and can't give you money. If I'm $200,000 in debt, I'm not, thank the Lord, but for sake of argument, if I'm $200,000 in debt and I tell you this and you ask me to give you $20,000 knowing I'm $200,000 in debt and I say, no, I can't do that. You think I hate you? I hate you now. I'm a horrible person now because I'm not trying to give you money that I obviously don't have. And if I did, I need to put it towards the debt that I have as opposed to giving it to you. Number one. And number two, you're the friend that keeps getting me involved in conflicts I got no business being in the first place. But we're just trying to make money off of Jew hatred. Okay, Laura. Don't tell me you're America First when you can't be consistent that the America First ideals need to exist not only in domestic policies, but also in the foreign policies. And as I'm saying, you guys, listen, this isn't that I regret voting for President Trump, okay? I don't regret it because I knew I was going to get the guy for status quo and not the crusader. I was going to get the domestic policies I was looking for. That's what we need, right? To be able to afford our bread and circus. But then status quo is you afford your bread and circus and you stick your head right back in the sand. And that's not the case anymore. That hasn't been the case since the man came down the escalator the first time. Too many Americans have been red-pilled. Too many Americans have opened their eyes. Too many Americans have become aware of how nefarious not only the central bank, but how nefarious even our government can be. We are anti-establishment for a reason. This is not a left or right thing. This is not a Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative kind of a thing. This is, we believe in sovereignty, independence, capitalism, ownership, not imperialism, not globalism. Okay? American politicians need to stop concerning themselves about what's going on with the rest of the world and whether or not having a position on these issues is going to deny American citizens, loyal, hardworking, patriotic Americans from running for office. That if you want to take the position of, we can't afford it, I don't want to give you any money, that you're anti-Semitic or a xenophobe. I don't care about none of that. I care how well are my citizens doing? And I'm ready for some more sifting, okay? We need to sift out these so-called I am America First, but support Israel. Oh, yeah, no, I am America First, but President Trump is the man. Not when he's doing decisions like this, which, like I said, you guys, during the campaign, after he won, I've said it multiple times and I'm saying it again. He is for status quo. He is not the crusader. We got our eyes open and we need to remain consistent. This is an imperialistic tactic. It's bringing us closer to globalism, and we have to be aware of that. Don't tell me you're America First and you can't support the idea that America First ideas should be in foreign policy as well. So either we believe that as America First or we're not America First. It's just that simple. I am But what about you? You guys get in the comment sections and let me know if you agreed with anything of what I just said, because I said a lot there. So get in the comments. Let me know, what do you think about President Trump's decision to give $20 billion while we're $37 trillion in debt to Argentina if this anarchist capitalist wins, whatever the hell that means. Whatever the hell that means. It's ridiculous. And what do you think America first means? Because according to me, I think America first means America only. And right now, I'm feeling like it needs to mean America alone. So get in the comments about what you think that means. Thank you guys again for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so that way you guys never miss an episode. Like the video, share this video. Get in the comments, okay? Definitely get in the comments because I really want to know what you think about this. I love you guys. You can support the show as well, support the channel. All the links will be in the description box. And of course, because it's me, Kepler.